The sun disappeared hours ago. The only light comes from the fire crackling in front of you. Beyond its glow is complete darkness. Somewhere out there, something howls. Nobody speaks. Every pair of eyes turns toward the sound, waiting to hear it again. It never does. The tension slowly fades. An older man throws another branch onto the fire. A child laughs at something you didn't hear. Someone begins telling a story you've already heard dozens of times. And somehow, you're completely absorbed. Not because the story is new, because tonight might not end the way the last one did. Tomorrow, your family could find food, or find nothing. You could discover a new valley, or walk straight into a predator. Every sunrise brings a mystery. Every sunset leaves questions unanswered. And in this world, boredom barely exists. That's strange, because if there was ever a group of people who should have been bored, it was them. No phones, no books, no music, no movies, no internet, no electricity, no games. For over 300,000 years, human beings lived without any of the things we now rely on to escape boredom. So here's the question: why didn't ancient humans get bored? And the answer isn't that they were tougher than us, or that survival kept them constantly busy. In fact, the real answer completely changes the way you think about boredom itself. Because boredom isn't the opposite of fun. It's one of the most misunderstood survival tools evolution ever created. Today, boredom feels almost unavoidable. You're waiting for an elevator. Your hand reaches for your phone. You're standing in line for coffee. You check your notifications. You finish watching one video. Without thinking, you start another. It happens so automatically that most of us never stop to ask why. Why is doing nothing so uncomfortable? After all, boredom seems like such a useless emotion. Fear keeps you alive. Pain tells you something is wrong. Hunger reminds you to eat. But boredom? What possible evolutionary purpose could that serve? The obvious answer is that ancient humans didn't have time to be bored. They were too busy surviving. Always hunting, always running, always fighting. It's the version of prehistory we've all seen in movies, but it's also wrong. Anthropologists, who have spent decades studying modern hunter-gatherer societies, found something that surprised almost everyone. Many groups spend only a few hours each day gathering food, sometimes even less. The rest of the day isn't one long action scene. They repair tools, collect firewood, prepare meals, watch children, talk, laugh, rest, tell stories around the fire. Some researchers have even argued that hunter-gatherers often enjoyed more leisure time than many people working modern full-time jobs. Wait, if they actually had free time, then the mystery just got bigger. Because free time is supposed to create boredom, isn't it? Think about your last vacation. The first day feels incredible. You sleep in, you relax, you do absolutely nothing. By the third or fourth day, many people start looking for something to do. A hike, a game, a book, anything. Our brains seem to resist doing nothing for very long. So why didn't the same thing happen to our ancestors? Why didn't they spend long afternoons sitting around, wishing someone would invent Netflix? The answer begins with a mistake almost all of us make. We think boredom happens when there's nothing around us. But your brain doesn't actually care how many things are around you. It cares how many things are unknown. Imagine you're walking through a forest you've never seen before. Every sound matters. A broken branch, a distant bird call, fresh footprints pressed into the mud. None of those things are just background noise. Each one is a question. Who made that sound? How old are those tracks? Is there food nearby or danger? Your brain isn't passively observing the world. It's constantly making predictions. Every prediction that turns out wrong teaches you something new. Every surprise becomes valuable information. And here's what's fascinating. Your brain rewards that process, not with money, not with applause, but with curiosity. Curiosity is what keeps you looking. Curiosity is what keeps you learning. Curiosity is what kept our ancestors alive. Notice something. The forest isn't entertaining them. It's challenging them. Every answer creates another question. Every solved mystery opens a new one. Sound familiar? That's exactly how a great story works. You answer one question, only to replace it with an even bigger one. The human brain has always loved unfinished puzzles, because for hundreds of thousands of years, unfinished puzzles were survival. Which raises another question. If our brains evolved to crave uncertainty, what happens when almost every part of life becomes predictable? The answer is everything. Think about how your day usually begins. The same alarm, the same bathroom, the same route to work, the same faces, the same apps, the same notifications. Before lunch, your brain has already predicted most of what will happen for the rest of the day. Your ancestors never had that luxury. The same forest was never the same forest. Rain changed it. Animals changed it. The seasons changed it. A tree that stood yesterday might be lying across the trail today. Fresh tracks might appear where there were none the night before. A river could overflow overnight. One unfamiliar smell carried by the wind could change the entire day's plan. Nature was constantly rewriting the rules. And your brain loved it, not because it enjoyed uncertainty, because uncertainty was where the information was. Imagine watching your favorite movie for the very first time. Every scene matters. Every conversation could change the ending. Now watch that same movie 50 times. The movie hasn't changed. You have. Your brain already knows every surprise before it happens. The mystery is gone. Attention quietly disappears with it. This isn't laziness, it's efficiency. Your brain is constantly asking one question. Have I figured this out already? If the answer is yes, it stops spending energy there and starts searching somewhere else. That one ability helped humans survive for hundreds of thousands of years. Once you learned which plants were poisonous, you didn't need to rediscover them tomorrow. Once you knew where the herd usually crossed the valley, you could focus on finding something new instead. The brain is always looking for the next unanswered question, but here's where the story takes an unexpected turn. If that's true, then boredom isn't what happens when your brain has nothing to do. It's what happens when your brain has nothing new to solve. Suddenly, boredom starts looking very different. It's no longer an enemy, it's a signal. Imagine two ancient humans. The first is perfectly happy, sitting beside the same river every day. He never explores, never experiments, never asks what lies beyond the next hill. The second grows restless after a while. He decides to leave. A day's walk later, he finds a valley with cleaner water, more animals, and better shelter. Which one is more likely to pass on their genes? Probably the second. Not because he was stronger, because something pushed him to move. Maybe that feeling was boredom. We often think curiosity is what drove human progress. But curiosity rarely appears on its own. Something has to come first. Something has to make staying exactly where you are feel uncomfortable. Boredom might have been that first push, the feeling that whispered, keep looking. There has to be something more. Without it, would anyone have crossed the mountains, sailed across oceans, invented agriculture, built cities, or walked on the moon? The emotion we spend so much time trying to eliminate might have helped build civilization itself. And yet, today, we spend our lives trying to silence it. The moment boredom appears, we reach for our phones, we refresh social media, we watch another video, we answer messages that didn't need answering. Not because we're curious, because we've become uncomfortable with the feeling that curiosity begins with. The irony is almost unbelievable. We have access to more entertainment than every human who ever lived combined. Millions of books, billions of videos, every song ever recorded, every movie ever made. More information than your ancestors could have imagined. Yet surveys across many countries consistently show people reporting higher levels of boredom than ever before. How is that possible? Because information isn't the same thing as discovery. Entertainment isn't the same thing as exploration. Watching someone else climb a mountain isn't the same as climbing one yourself. Watching someone build something isn't the same as creating it. Watching someone solve a mystery isn't the same as solving one. Our ancestors didn't spend their lives consuming experiences. They participated in them. Every day demanded observation, problem solving, adaptation, cooperation, learning. The world constantly asked questions. They spent their lives answering them. Our world mostly gives us answers before we've even had the chance to ask the questions. Maybe that's why modern boredom feels different, not because life has become too quiet, but because it has become too predictable. So, why didn't ancient humans get bored? Maybe they did sometimes, waiting out a storm, recovering from an injury, watching over a sleeping child. They were human. But they almost never lived in the kind of perfectly predictable environment that allows boredom to settle in day after day. Their brains were doing exactly what evolution designed them to do, exploring an uncertain world. Ours are trying to do the same thing. The only difference is, instead of forests, rivers, and mountains, they're searching through endless feeds, hoping the next swipe feels like discovering something beyond the next hill. And maybe that's why the feeling never lasts. Because your Stone Age brain isn't actually searching for another video. It's searching for another horizon. The same feeling that once led your ancestors into unknown valleys still exists inside you today. We've just become so good at distracting it that we've forgotten what it was trying to tell us in the first place. Thank you for watching Vinta.